Welcome to this session. So today we will see the concept of administration. Okay, Linux administration basics. So whenever we talk about administration, it is not just for Linux. It may be any operating system, or it may be any system. Ultimately that has to be administered, or there has to be one person who is going to take care of that particular system. So even in your lab, in your CS lab, we have admin, isn't it? So he will be having all the authorities, or all the control over rest of the system which you are using, and using that admin computer he can install the application to all the system just by sitting in one system, isn't it? He will be having his own system which will have all the access, all the control, and all the permission for all the systems which are available in the lab. Okay, so it depends. Okay, in our college we have some set of systems. In companies, say, they may have 1,000 PCs, or in a large industry, or in large companies, they will be having, each and every floor will be having 1,000 computers, isn't it? So if the number of floors are 10, then it almost 10,000 computers, isn't it? So all that computers have to be maintained. Okay, so the maintenance of the system again requires one administrator. So it may be for setting up the date, it may be for creating the some files, or giving some permissions, or installing some softwares, or giving some or updating some information to that system. So everything has to be done using some administration, isn't it? There has to be some administrator who is going to take care of rest of the system, or all the systems which are available in each and every company. Okay, so that is how it works. Next, introduction. So you have, let us the concept of introduction here. So Linux is a major strength in computing technology. So most of the web servers, mobile phones, personal computers, supercomputers, and cloud servers are powered by Linux. So they say that all this, most of the web servers, I'm not saying all, so most of the web servers, so that is the reason why I said almost 99% of the servers which are in the world are powered by this Linux operating system, just for its security and privacy. The techniques they go for privacy, and the simplicity, I can say, ease of use, or you will get a separate idea of working on a particular system. That also possible. Okay, next, in mobile phones also, this Linux, I don't know now, I am not pretty sure, but in one time there was an advertisement saying that even the smartphone supports a Linux operating system, just like Android and iOS, or that Microsoft Nokia phones has got previously its own operating system, but now they just moved into Android again. Okay, so the personal computers, obviously supercomputers and cloud servers, are powered by Linux, they say. Okay, the job of a Linux system administrator is to manage the operations of a computer system, like maintaining or enhancing something, or creating the user account, or reporting something. Next, taking backups using Linux tools and command line interface tools. So ultimately the admin, or the Linux administrator, has to go for the maintenance as well. He has to enhance the functionality, or he can go for more data, more files, or he can install more softwares also. So ultimately he will be doing the enhancement of the system. Then he can he is having the permission to create user accounts, or he can report he can generate the report, as well as he can report, or he can take the permission from a particular user. That also possible. Next, he can go for taking up the backups using some tools which are available for Linux. So ultimately he will be having almost all control on a particular system. Most computing devices are powered by Linux because of its high stability, high security, and open source environment. So this is about the beauty of Linux. So that is the reason why most of the people, or most of the places, this Linux concept has come into picture. Okay, there are some of the things that a Linux administrator should know and understand. Okay, so first one is Linux Linux file system. So because ultimately whenever we talk about operating system, there will be having n number of files. That is the first thing. The second thing is the maintenance of that file also, is an important task, because how you can maintain the file, what permission we have to give to that particular file, who can see the file, who can modify the file, or who can access the file, that also permission again this administrator has to take care of it. So ultimately how exactly we can store the file, in what directories, in what way, in what fashion, all the things will be taken care by Linux administrator. Next, file system hierarchy. So this is nothing but in which form, say something like if the if you have some files, if you want to categorize that files for different directories, again that has to be done using that has to be done by the administrator again. Okay, so ultimately he will be having the overall control on file system. Next, managing root and super user. So this is nothing but, see, in the system, in the Linux system, super user means the person who is having, or the user who is having almost all the control on the system. Okay, he's the root access. So separate password will be set for root, separate password will be for the super user. Okay, so once you logged into a system as a root or as a super user, then ultimately you will be having each and every control on the system. That is the meaning. Okay, next, basic bash command. So as the administrator dealing with all the important work of a particular system, he should know the shortcuts, he should know the commands, so that he using some commands he can perform so many tasks. Instead of going for GUI, he can go for some commands and he can use the terminal. That is the thing. The next point is handling file directories and user. The same concept again, but they just made it as a separate point. So handling also the same thing. If we want to manipulate the file, if we want to give separate file to a particular user, then he can go for it. Say for example, let me give one real-time example over here. Okay, you are second year students. Okay, now whatever the data or whatever the files given to final year students will not be shared to you, isn't it? Or whatever the files given to first year students, that thing will not be shared to you, as well as your informations or the files or records containing your information will not be shared to final year students or first year students, isn't it? Because that is a category. Okay, you are a second year students and you will be having a separate set of paths, separate set of information, separate set of files, separate set of software, so separate set of criteria. In the same fashion, final year students will be having their own, first year students will be having their own, department faculties will be having their own, management faculties will be having their own, commerce faculties will be having their own set of files. So each and everything will not be shared by one to another, isn't it? So that is nothing but administration. It may be using hard copy or soft copy. If the person is going for soft copy, again administrator will come into picture. If it is going with the hard copy, definitely people or peon will take care of it, isn't it? Or the non-teaching faculties will take care of it. So this is how it works. In real time also, we have this concept of administration. In virtual world or in computer system or computer world also, we will be having this same thing. Okay, so this is how it works. Next, below are some duties of the next administrator. In a textbook they have given some other concept also, but I just listed out some main points which will be useful for you to understand and to gain the knowledge. Okay, in the textbook they did not give, they have given a small paragraph that is not at all enough actually, but this is just it is along with the textbook thing. It is some enhanced, some concepts I have just gone for. Don't buy her these things, you just understand, that's enough. Okay, so maintain all internet requests inclusive to DNS, Radius, Apache, MySQL, PHP. So these are the requests. Okay, internet requests. So DNS is required, domain name service we require. Apache is nothing but a server. MySQL again for database. PHP is also same thing. Radius also. So these are the internet requests. Okay, so it has to be maintained by the Linux administrator. It is his work. Next, taking regular backup of data, create new stored procedures, and listing a backup is one of the duties. So because whatever the updates the person has done, or whatever the updates an employee has done a particular day, that has to be backed up. Because if there any issue with the system, if there any errors with the system, if the system goes down, or if there any failures in the system, the data or the file should not be missed. That is the reason why it is administrators work to back up the files which are residing in a particular system, and every day this backup has to be taken, so that the files or the information should be preserved. So that is the meaning. Okay, that is the thing. Fine. The analyzing all errors logs and fixing, along with the providing excellent customer support for web hosting, ISP, LAN, the customers, and troubleshooting, increased support troubles. So ultimately, if there are any errors in the system, that logs or error log has to be analyzed by the administrator, so that he can try to fix the system. If there are any software issues, he will definitely go for it. If there are any hardware or major hardware issues, definitely they have to give that particular system to the customer service center. Otherwise it will be a problem in the later stages. And if there and one more thing, so excellent customer support in the sense for web hosting. So again, it is for server setup and software thing. So it is not about just hardware issues or chipset issues or the circuit issues. It is not like that. So mainly that is also one of the work of administrator, Linux administrator. Okay, communicating with the staff, vendors and customers in a cultivated professional manner at all times has to be one of his characteristics. So this is how a Linux administrator should be. So he should know how to talk with the people, and how to behave like a professional. All these things has to be some of the characteristics of a particular administrator. So that is the thing. Next, enhance, maintain and creating the tools for the Linux environment and its user. So if every day now, I'm not saying, I don't know about our college, but usually in some of the colleges what happens, so there may be so many systems, and each and every day you may see a different wallpaper, you may see different style of clock which will be rolling on the monitor, or you can go for some wallpaper, some different screensavers will be there, some different kind of wallpapers may be there, some new softwares may be installed in your system. Whenever you log into a particular system, that is because of administrator. He will control over your system. So he will be having the control over your system, so that he can install or he can manipulate or he can enhance the system experience, overall system experience. Okay, next, detecting and solving the service problems ranging from disaster recovery to login problems. So ultimately it is the work of Linux administrator for any errors, for any disaster things, for recovery and login issues of a particular employee or a student. Everything will be taken care by whom? It will be taken care by the Linux administrator. Okay, installing the necessary systems and security tools, working with the data network engineer and other personal departments to analyze hardware requirement and makes acquiring recommendation. So ultimately the same thing for installation, for maintenance, and for looking up all the concepts, it will be done by the Linux administrator. Okay, next, troubleshoot when the problem occurs in the server. Again, if there are any issues with the server or any problems with respect to server room or server temperature or server maintenance, also has to be done by the administrator. For some extent, there are some different job opportunities also for server administrator. That is a separate part of story, but ultimate Linux administrator has to take care of each and everything. So these are some of the duties they have just listed out. Next, you have administering time and date. This also done by the administrator itself, and because each and every system should have the identical time and identical date, and there should not be any issue with respect to time zone as well as time. Okay, the time administration tool allows you to set the time, date and time zone of your system, as well as setting any time server to synchronize your local time server. So ultimately in the Linux platform, you have this particular tool itself, but if you don't you want to use the tool, if you just want to use the command, then you have sudo space time hyphen admin. So you can go for this, or time hyphen admin also you can go for it. You can just open the terminal and you can execute this command, so that you can change the date and time. So these are the some of the information I just wanted to say as an introduction part. You have some more concepts which involved, which is involved in this, Linux administration basics. So rest of the things we will discuss in the next video. So if you have any doubt, you can contact me. Fine. So yes, thanks for watching.